back. It's KSR and WPIR. Now we are going to get into our topic. Marcus, you still with us? Yay! All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, so again, as Marcus was explained before, Marcus was our primary speaker at our Friday Night Live program in July, and the topic was God's point of view. So focusing on how God views us as people, and Marcus talked a little bit about how when we're growing up, we sometimes fall into different labels. So maybe we have certain experiences, or maybe people put us in certain boxes growing up. So this is kind of like a reflective question. And Marcus, I'm going to start off with you. But the question is, what were some of the labels you've been given by the world, and how did that impact you and how you viewed yourself? I can't hear.
Hey, Marcus.
shucks. Mm. Wow.
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 That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. How about you, Tam? If you want to read the question again.
So again, guys, the question is, what were some of the labels you were given by the world, and how did that impact you and how you viewed yourself? If anybody else
Me.
wants to share, go
Yeah.
ahead and talk.
Shocker. Okay. So when I when I first moved to Florida, I mean, I guess for the grade that I was in, I had a very like I don't care if you like me type of thing, and they would again, and I went to a school that was predominantly white, and I had never encountered anything like that. Like yes, I was aware of the fact that there were more white people around me, but I wasn't. I was young, like I wasn't like. It was just like, oh, like there's a lot of white. Where are the black? Because I come from living in Brooklyn, like you know what I'm saying. So it's not. It's not. It wasn't about like black. There was like Guyanese, Jamaican. There was West Indian. There were white people, but there was diverse, and so now it was like either white or me, like or So I was like, I think I was viewed as different in the sense of when you're in such a young age, a young grade, like you're not trying to be different. Like you're like, yeah, maybe when you hit like 7th grade or 8th grade, like you're trying to be cool different. Like, oh, that's different. But like when you're young and something simple, like my lunch wasn't like a sandwich and chips. Like my mom like made cook up rice for me, and like I had like curry, and they were like, whoa, like but they did it kind of like, what's that? Or like I'd have my hair in braids sometimes, and they're like, oh, so do you wake up every morning and have to do that? And I'm like, no, like you know what I'm saying? And but they made me feel like something was wrong with me because of it. And so I started to, at certain points, I wanted to try to fix, and again, there wasn't nothing wrong, but I wanted to fix it. So I would be okay with doing certain things, like either speaking a certain way or thinking that my family culture, how we were at home, had to be how Barbie was telling me hers was, or Janet, or whatever, or you know what I'm saying? Well, I use Barbie to be exaggerative.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? And so it wasn't until, like I said, more of like the 7th, 8th grade, my year there, I was like, who cares? Like, they are not trying, like, I think that's weird. I think you're weird. Like, why are you eating that? Like, and I just simply didn't care anymore. But I was able to, praise God, quickly identify that it wasn't, I guess I mean, more of a culture thing and not like a I'm wrong thing. Like I would, I met another individual, like someone that was also Guyanese, and we related. I'm like, is your mom also putting roti for your lunch? And I was like, oh yeah, like your hair is also, or I actually changed schools in 8th grade and I went to a school that was more diverse. And that was such a positive thing for me. And I realize that more now because again, I was able to relate more with people. Yeah. Like again, nothing like bad, but we got licks. We got punished. Like, you know, and I felt like I couldn't say that to some of my other classmates because it was like, ooh, are you getting abused? And I was like, no. But like they made me like, it had a feeling of like, maybe am I getting abused? Like, no, you know, so that was kind of like what society kind of like it, I know it sounds young and minor, but that's kind of how it affected it. Helped much, huge change in 8th grade for me.
I know for me, going to an all white, and I've talked about this before, going to an all white school when I was younger, that really impacted the way that I viewed myself, because I was viewed as the black girl, the different girl, and it wasn't in a favorable light. So I questioned my skin color and how that defined me. I felt like less of a person because of that, and that even transformed into my becoming older, because looking back, I realized that I've always tried to give 110% at everything I did, just to feel like I was on the same playing level as my peers. So that was a huge impact for me. Being skinny, I was, you know, and then when I went to public school, on the other side, being skinny was not a good thing. And I remember always being picked on little bit, and go eat some rice, or go eat some meat. Right. So that made me feel like my body was unattractive, and I didn't like being skinny because of that. And then me being more of a reserved person, you get the label as, oh, she's shy. Oh, she doesn't like talking to people.
Oh yeah.
And right, and then that limited for a certain amount of time in my life what I thought I could do and what I was capable of. So there were things that I didn't go for, certain positions or certain sports and things, because this is not what a quiet person can do. But thankfully, as I got older, I really broke out of that. And, you know, and I was in high school, I was on the cheerleading team, which is something that people never thought a quiet person could do. And then I actually became to realize that I'm an introvert. I'm not shy, I'm an introvert, which is a totally different thing. And that's okay. And I can still be these things. I can still be on a radio show. I can get in front of people and talk. But it's okay that I like to be reserved. So those are some of the things that stood out in my mind as labels, and they were limited. They limited what I thought or what I believed I could do, and they limited who I was as a person.
Christina, Jamal, care to share, or V?
Yes. Wait, what was the question again?
Labels.
So,
yeah.
Labels.
For those who are
growing up, I was super annoying.
So you were labeled as annoying?
Yeah, like people were like, oh my god. No, I was annoying. I really was annoying. Like,
so that was an accurate
label. So tell
us no, it was accurate. But like people said, like, oh my god, you're so annoying. Like I don't know why I did so much stupid stuff back then. I was really annoying.
You're still annoying.
No, I am. Kidding. No, I am still annoying. Oh. Can you hear me now?
I don't think
just because he hit a deep voice.
No? Yeah.
Okay. All right. He's like eating it.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah.
Eat it.
Yeah.
All right.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was super annoying. So
How did it affect your life? Impact your? I guess not. I mean, at that time that they were labeling you as.
Maybe it's just my mic thing.
Here, use this one.
Okay.
How did it impact you that they were labeling you as that?
How did it impact me? I don't know. I just kind of just kept doing what I was
Did you
doing.
care?
Sometimes I cared because I would be so annoyed that like nobody would want to hang out with me. But then I always had like that one friend who still hung out with me.
Who was also probably annoying.
No, just like that really nice person. It's like, okay, like you're annoying, but I'll be your friend. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but as I grew older, I kind of grew out of it.
Good.
Like I still have my moments where like I'm annoying, but
he has his moments. He does.
I have my moments, but not like when I was like 13 or 12. You know.
I could just imagine.
And then I was always like look down, like I was always like I'm still skinny, back then, like how you were saying.
Listen to KSR and WPIR.
How you were saying, like, being skinny is like it's not seen as something like really good. So it's just like go eat. Like, why are you so skinny? Like, look at your arms. I remember like in high school, like girls would like touch my thigh, like, wow, your thigh is only like one of your thighs is two of mine and stuff like that. I'm just like, okay, like I'm not starving. I'm being fed. I'm not hungry. I'm just not gaining weight.
Yeah.
But other than that.
What about you, Christina?
I had a lot of labels growing up that I think affected me now that I can like look at it like back in the day. So like I grew up with a my mother's Hispanic, so I grew up in a Hispanic family. I didn't know any of my African American side of my family, so I was always the black child. Seriously, I was always the black child, or like. My sisters would say, like, get your nigger grease off my pillow. Like, yeah. Or like, I hate the niggas in the neighborhood. And I'm like, like, they didn't see me as black. They saw me as their Puerto Rican sister, or just that's just how it is. But I knew identity-wise, I didn't look like them. I didn't have hair like them. So growing up, it was real identity crisis. Like, I didn't know where I fit in because my hair, my mom couldn't comb it. She didn't know what to do with it. She had no idea. Like, I still wanted to be like black girls because they all have braids. And I was like, yeah, I want braids. And my sisters could straighten their. And back in the day, you used to straighten your hair because I'm ghetto and hood. On an ironing board with an iron. Like a straight iron. And everybody's hair would be all like, woo! And I'd be like, like it'd be thick and like big. It would never. And this is how crazy it was. I'll never forget. Like I used to want perms, right? Because I would want my hair to be straight so bad. Yeah. Right? And I, for some reason, this is how I know I don't have a black mama. For some reason, thought that your hair with a perm just stays straight. It just straightens. Okay. Like after you wet it, you just let it dry and then boop, it straightened back out. No, yeah. So right. So when I would wet my hair, I'd be like, it didn't work. My hair would be curly, and I was just anyway. And then in high school, like I've always been a thicker person, so I always got labeled as I had to be having sex because I was thick. And I never understood that. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So people were like, she ain't no virgin. She be. I'm like, whoa. What? Just got here, buddy. And it wasn't like that for me in Chicago, so I thought it was a Southern thing because it wasn't like that for me up north. Like. Up north is totally culture. Being around people is not the same as it is in the South, and things are just not the same. So, it was weird. But I felt I had a huge loss of my identity. I had no idea where I fit in. I had no idea like whether I wanted to be black or Puerto Rican or accept both. Then I was in a predominantly Caribbean church, so I had no idea. Then I was like, "What's happening here?" So yeah, I fit into. I then like. Started to just transition into myself, and I just kind of didn't care. I didn't care, so. You're like, whatever. Yeah, I really just was like, whatever. I like who you are now, Christine. I'll tell you that. Thanks, Bill.
Okay, so for our next question, do you feel broken? So a lot of times because we're not fitting into a picture or a puzzle piece of what's happening, or because we're thicker, or because our skin is, or because we don't act a certain way, or, even certain labels like we've just listed here, do you feel broken, or and Marcus, again, we'll start with you. Do you feel broken?
And Marcus, I want you to also add, because in the program you talked about what it really means to be broken, because a lot of people didn't raise their hand when you asked that same question.
Yeah.
So can you first start off with like what it means to be broken, and then we'll go into the question. Marcus?
Still with us, Marcus? Okay, so we're saying, the question is, do you feel broken? And before answering that, at the program, again, when you asked the question the first time, not many people raised their hand, but the second time around, you had more hands raised. And so, can you define when we say brokenness, what we're talking about, and then answer, do you feel broken? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Marcus, you still there?
Marcus, we're asking you a question. Just kidding.
I'm trying to hear you. You asked me to define what brokenness is.
Right. So first, define what brokenness is, because again, when you defined it at the show, first time people didn't raise their hands, and then people did. So define brokenness.
We was at the workshop, we asked people, I get this all, when I go do this seminar, this workshop, I like to call them workshops, because workshops I feel is more interactive, but when I did this workshop in other places, I always ask the question, how many of you feel as though you're broken? Right. So when you look out into the crowd, you don't see that many hands go up. And so it's always after we explain the definition,
right,
to get a more understanding of what brokenness is.
Right.
So, to be broken, we define it as an unbalanced man or woman who is not in good mental health, who isn't in good physical health, spiritual health, cultural, emotional, and financial alignment. And so, after we broke that down, and after people saw that definition, they probably looked at that definition and said, I'm good. Like, I'm not broken for real. But when you see, are you in good mental health? Are you in good physical health? Are you keeping your body up? Are you in good spiritual health? Are you having worship? Are you out serving? Are you involved in ministry? Do you have a good connection with God? Are you emotionally stable? Like, as far as men, I really say this to the young men, especially those men who are married. When you're married, you have to be emotionally stable, because you have to be the stronghold for your wife. So when bills get unshaky, when you start going through hard times, are you fussing at your wife, throwing stuff, cussing her out and degrading your wife? You have to be balanced. And so brokenness is just basically, being unbalanced. And so when we defined that, we had a lot of hands that went up, and they signified that, you know what, I am broken. So that was a pretty cool moment right there. It was a cool moment.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So with that definition, what do you guys think? Do you guys feel broken? I mean, I know if I was asked it the first time, I don't have a sense that I am broken. Mm. You know what I mean? Like, all in all, like, it's like, could I use some work in areas? Yes, but feeling broken. But for the second definition, or for the actual definition, yeah. What do you guys think? Do you feel broken, Jamal?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think necessarily think I feel broken.
Okay. That's okay. What do you think, V?
I think initially when he said broken, I was like, no.
Right.
But I think after he said his definition, like you said, there's probably some areas that I could work on. Mm-hmm. So with that, I would think that the majority of the people in church, at work, wherever, would be broken with that definition. Right. Wait, so I think that includes myself.
Look, Jamal's like, no. Look, Jamal's like,
because I mean, he said like spiritually, emotionally, mental health, financially.
Right. Yeah, no.
Unbalanced.
Right.
I am broken.
Me
and Christina had a sidebar. So yes, I would consider myself broken. I don't want to front on.
I'm glad you're not fronting, because we're not fronting on the show.
What happened was.
Okay. Broken, you feel?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And not to put a number, whatever, on it, but sometimes I feel massively broken. Other times I'm like, I'm almost fixed. How about you, Tammy?
I think if I'm being real and authentic with myself, yeah. I think if we're all being real, we are broken in one way, shape, or form, according to that definition.
Well, then let me ask, when is the time that you felt the most broken? And how did you, like, what was it that you did to start feeling better? So, like, when was the time that you felt the most broken, by definition? And what did you do to start feeling better?
Me?
Sure.
I think I felt the most broke. I think when I was like 18 because I was doubting my faith. I think I was going through like that phase where I was just like, do I really believe in God? Like, you know, and what helped me a lot, and I think God timed it. God timed it perfectly for me. I went to GYC. And if you guys aren't familiar with GYC, stands for like Generation of Youth for Christ. It's this,
where is it?
It's going to be in Houston this year. And I went to GYC and I felt like my faith was just like restored. And I think it was good for me to kind of like second guess my faith, and then God kind of showed Himself even more to me, so where it solidified my faith in God. So and that was great. Like I didn't really tell anybody either. I was like, I'm down in my faith. I was just something I was going through mentally, and I ended up going to GYC, and that was where I really where like God restored me. I was really broken at that time. Like I was really just in this mix of things where I was like looking into a whole bunch of like other faiths and stuff. So yeah.
How about you, Christina?
I feel like a constant, not a constant broken, but a constant broken, if I will, kind of like that. Because I feel like whenever I feel like I have put a piece to a broken piece of my life, something else I recognize is broken. So I always feel like I'm not whole. There are moments where I feel really low and broken, and then I feel like not so broken, but I never feel 100% whole, and I guess that's a test of my faith.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I would say where I felt the most broken is probably during a breakup when I hurt somebody I really cared about. And I think I felt the most broken because I realized how crappy of a person, but how bad of a person I was, because I thought I was this good person, this nice person. I realized how much damage I've done to someone and how bad of a person I was. And it made me feel terrible, and I was on this dark spiral of kind of just trying to block myself from really realizing myself. And I didn't want to talk to God about it either, because I kind of felt like you didn't save me from the situation either. You know, it was just like a dark time in my life. But even now, like that I'm over the situation, there are times I look at myself and I think like, what kind of person I am, like who am I, or just whatever. So I don't know, I feel a constant brokenness. That's just me.
What's your V?
I kind of agree with Christina. I always feel like I'm broken in some area according to that definition. I notice when I'm the most broken when I feel like everything in my life is just going wrong, and I think that's a big play on my spirituality at the moment. So like if I happen to not go to church for like a week or two, or I'm sleeping in, or I'm just like, you know, I noticed that, okay, well, I'm not on the right track. Not that I have to go to church to have a strong relationship with God. No. But personally, I just enjoy going to church. Absolutely. And I feel like when I don't do things that I grew up doing that are good for me, that, you know, it starts to, my life starts to spiral, but in a negative way. Also, I'm pretty sure everyone in here has been through some type of financial strength, you know, and or strain, and there's been times where I'm like, geez, I don't have this, I don't have that, and whatever, and then I'll probably look at my peers or look at people like on the same level as me, and I'm like, you know, not that I'm envious, because I've never been like an envious person, but I would be like, you know, I would start to question God and be like, why am I in this situation and this person is just chilling while I'm here doing this and that? You know, I've always thought of that, but you know how they also say, you know, don't question God. And with that being said, I also believe that, you know, everything happens for a reason, and with whatever happens with me, whether I think it's negative at the moment, God always pulls me out of it. So
yeah. And similar, Tammy.
The time when I felt most broken was probably my freshman year of undergrad, going into my sophomore year. That was when one of my most serious relationships ended, and I was in this state of like finding myself and who I am. So that was, it was a very like confusing time. I was not connected to God. I didn't know what direction I was going in, what career I wanted to pursue, what major. All of that was just, it was just a very confusing time. And then now I feel a sense of brokenness when it comes to like love and relationships. Because being 29 years old and seeing the majority seeing the majority of my peers married, engaged, serious relationships, have kids, it kind of makes you feel a certain a void, and you start to wonder like, okay, God, did you forget about me? Like, hello. What do I need to do to get that? So that's the part of brokenness that I'm currently experiencing in my life.
I find for myself personally, I find that I am. Okay, I'm just gonna give it to her. Cool. So I find that I feel most broken when, because you mentioned like positions, and so like anytime I'm in the middle of a position, like from either like one job or to like finding the next piece, I feel this sense of like why am I not like, why am I looking for new opportunities? So it first started when like I finished university. I graduated university and I was going to Korea. Like those times, even between there, I was like, hurry up, visa, Lord, why are you letting the visa take so long to get to Korea? Like, like I'm supposed to like hurry up, and like this sense of like incomplete. Like I'm not complete. Like I'm not ready. I come back. Like I'm pretty confident that I've spent my time there, and I'm looking for a position here in the States. And during that time, I'm like, Lord, why aren't you helping me find a position? Like, you know, that's when I pray the most. That's when I start like, Lord, I'm sorry for what I've done. You're right, like all of, you know, whatever the case is. And I find that it happens while I'm in transition of a position for whatever. Again, it's labels that society puts on us that at this age you're supposed to be careered, you're supposed to be this and whatever. And I have to remember that my journey is not going to be everyone else's journey. Another time where I feel not complete and whole is when I'm reminded of my family dynamic. So Marcus spoke a lot about some of the hurt that people have gone through because of their family. Some of the stuff that their family has gone through. And
who was that?
And Marcus?
No,
yeah. And it really woke a lot of things up. It made me think of like why how some of my actions affect other people because of how, not that I'm making an excuse, but how my parents may have treated me or how their parents may have treated them, and we just never talked about it because you weren't allowed to like any of that, like no, and it just affected, you know. So that's the time where I think about how my family dynamic again isn't like Jessica's or isn't like John, you know, like like look at them, like my friends, you know, I'm like their parents are still together, they have a good all the siblings are career, the parents are career, whatever, and that's far from what my family's doing right now. There's a lot of hurt in my family. You know how people say hurt people hurt people? I think it's also broken people. I guess I have a tendency to want to break other people. I don't know. But so I have a sense of like, that's what I feel. What helps me get out of it is, apart from just the thought, like just pray, I have to remind myself that this is the journey. This is God dealt this cards, if you will, to me so that I could somehow bless someone in some other way. I can be empathetic with someone in another way. Hi Shay, long time no see. We had someone just walked in. Hey Shay, should we do like this awkwardly and then stop? Awesome. So Marcus, you still with us, right? I have to ask like every. Awesome. Do you think that God sees you as broken? So, like, do you guys think that God, like, when he sees you, you're like, he's like, broken child Marcus?
I think so.
Right.
No.
Okay.
He don't view us as broken. In First Samuel 16:7, it talks about, when he was talking to Samuel, he was saying, don't look at his appearance or the height of his stature because I rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees.
Mm.
See, man see, we look at the outward appearance, but God, he looks at the heart.
Okay.
God looks at the heart. He doesn't look at how we look on the outside. It's easy for humans to really be judgmental, to easily label other people based off what they see.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thank God that he does not see like we see. In
Amen.
Isaiah 55, this is our theme. Isaiah 55, verses 8 through 9. For my ways are not your ways. You see what I'm saying? My ways are not your ways. Neither are my thoughts your thoughts. For my ways are higher and my thoughts are higher than yours. So God does not see on the same level as human beings. And sometimes we cannot grasp that because, when you're dealing with struggles and setbacks or addiction, you're falling into that pit, you don't know how to get out. It's hard for us to go ahead and ask God for repentance because we think God sees us in a human way. And we're like, God can't forgive me. God can't continue to forgive me over and over. He gives me healing because I keep repeating this same sin, this same addiction over and over. I keep asking for forgiveness. God ain't gonna ask me. God ain't gonna forgive me if I just ask for forgiveness yesterday for the same sin. But we can't think like that. We have to stay true to what the Word of God says. He says, my ways and my thoughts are not like your thoughts.
Yes.
So no, God does not.
Okay. Okay. Now, when I asked, there was a couple of no's in the studio. So Marcus says yes, but V, you say no. Pray tell.
Well, so what he says makes sense, but I only say no because of the definition. And I agree that God doesn't necessarily view us as broken, but I think he sees us as broken. Like, I don't think he judges us, but I think he sees us as broken because I tend to feel like if he didn't think that we were broken spiritually or emotionally, physically, or anything like that, then he would have already came back, So I think that he feels like we're a work in progress, and even though we're striving to be one way, we're still not there. So there's things that we have to do in our life to get to where he wants us to be.
Absolutely. Okay. Jamal?
Maybe my problem is the word broken.
Yeah.
I would say that God views us maybe as misshapen, where we're not like people use the example like with like how God's the potter and we are the clay.
Right.
So like we're not in that shape where he needs us to be, like in that perfect shape. So I wouldn't say we're broken, but he's molding us to be something more perfect, more like-minded to where he's at. So when I think of broken, I think of like a plate breaking, it's like shattered. But I think what God sees is like, okay, like you're my sculpture, and I'm just fixing you, and I'm knocking off the edges that aren't good. And until we get to this perfect image where it's like, yes, this is where I need you to be. That's
nice.
And I think in the sense of how the world, the perspective of brokenness, because we look at people who are broken as maybe they're useless, damaged goods, whatever. And I think God sees it as an opportunity. And if we go to the Bible, 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, it says, it says, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. So the areas where we are weak is God's opportunity to shine, to use us, as long as we are connected to him. And I want to share another, my favorite verse of, I'm going to kind of focus on how does God actually view us. Jeremiah 1 verse 5, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. God sees that we're all just unique and special, and he designed us. Like, that is so powerful to me. It really shows how wonderful we are. What amazing creations we are.
Yeah, and personal.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very personal.
Right.
I like that text a lot.
Yeah. It does kind of like set a tone of like, I am handcrafted.
Yeah.
Like the potter clay analogy. It was like, I was hand created by.
So we know how God views us, and then we talked about how the world sometimes views us. What factors can distort God's perception of us? So we know how God views us as this creation, his child, all of these things, but yet we become depressed and we succumb to what the world labels us. What factors would lead us to ignore God's perspective and take on how the world defines us?
Marcus? Or
Mark,
no,
we'll start with Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Did you catch the question? Okay. Good. Yes.
Yes.
We believe we can never get over our addictions or the light. We believe into the lie, and we become distracted by trying to avoid the label, by trying to look for acceptance and trying to fit in when God created us to be different. Also fear. We're afraid to ask God for forgiveness because we labeled ourselves as unforgiving. And he would never, forgive me for the same thing I continue to do over and over again.
They doing the same thing.
So, we can become distracted. We can become consumed. And so, those are some factors, sin, lies, and distractions are some factors that can kind of cloud our mind and our judgment to lose sight of his view of how he sees us.
Jamal, you're going to say
Absolutely.
something?
Yeah, I think sometimes we can be our biggest detriment. Like people are just like, when you go home and you tell your parents like, oh, like kids at school are calling me a loser, just like, don't you know you're a child of the King? And that's how God views us. But instead, sometimes we lose sight, and I think sometimes we take the opinion of others around us more highly than we take of God's.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like if like a 2-year-old told you like, Jamal, you're a loser, I'm just like, okay.
Okay, you too.
Like it doesn't matter. But sometimes like we let our peers like say stuff to us, and then it affects us. Just like why are we letting it affect you? Our Creator really believes that we're royalty, right? Like we're set up here.
That one made me excited.
And then somebody next to you just like, hey, like you're ugly, and it's like a bullet to our chest. Like, oh my God, like I'm ugly. Like we shouldn't care. So sometimes we focus, and it's hard. It's hard not to pay attention to it. It's like it's not something like I'm saying it, but it's not something easy to just like get over. But at the same time, I think when we're in constant we're in like this relationship with God, we're in this communication with Him. He's constantly reminding us like, listen, like you're royalty. Like don't worry about what people think about you. Then it doesn't come to affect us.
True.
I think when we find our identity, our true identity in Christ, it makes a big difference.
Yes.
I think like when you're lost in your identity, and it doesn't mean like you don't know who you are. Like I think it's like you're not solidified in your identity in Christ. You listen to what other people say because it's not everybody. Because it could be people you work with that you don't care about their opinion.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's not everybody's opinion that matters to you.
Right.
The same age or older, it doesn't matter. Because somebody could walk in a 40-year-old. I don't even know. It's literally it's based on what you value. You put the value on people's opinion, and then their value becomes what you believe in yourself or what they tell you. You know what I'm saying? So I think once we put the value in like what God thinks of us, really put the value in that. What others say about us, hopefully won't matter. Yeah. I mean, I would think it wouldn't matter, but it's hard because I think you hear people's voice a lot more than you hear God's voice.
Unfortunately.
So I mean that's just what it is. You don't hear God's voice as often as you're hearing people talk to you. Right. You're not hearing God say, hey, you look good today. Yeah. Hey, you're doing a great job today. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're hearing more negative than you are hearing positive, and you take it for what it is. I think that's just what it is. But
another thing I think that let me stop doing that. I keep on wanting to hold it for myself. Just get it together. So that affects it. It's kind of like even what Mark was saying, the fear and other people's things. It's a kind of a combination. It's like a mix-up of both. So it's stuff from before. So I'm reminded that, or I start thinking, man, I never thought at the age of 22, because I'm 22. Yeah. Wow. I'm not. Got it. Got it. Ooh, just straight line. At any rate, at the age that I am now, that this is where I was going to be. And I keep on thinking that. Or like, our friends cannot even tell us. It's not even like if our parents are like, man, like you're skinny or whatever, but it's our own, how we view even like ourselves. So like we see things like you said on social media or like a certain shows, and it's like, man, I want that. But then we're like, we have to remind ourselves why. Like, is that what God even wants for me? And like, God's okay with where I am now. Like, why am I not okay? Like, sometimes it's just self-talk, and that could be huge. Like it limiting. It's like this concept of this limiting beliefs, or like this like how you do self, and just you hear yourself, because yourself is with you a lot. So you have to be careful with what you tell yourself. You know.
And just to add, I think another factor is like when people go through certain experiences. So when you have trauma, when you have abuse, a lot of people develop negative core beliefs about themselves because of those experiences, which sometimes is hard to reverse. Sometimes it's hard to tell a person that you are valuable, you are a gem, when dad was molesting them for 10-20 years. You know what I'm saying? So you have those extreme situations that severely distort how a person views themselves, and it's hard for them to accept what God says about them. And I love what Atar said about the thoughts, our self-talk. That's a big thing. We are our thoughts. So when we surround ourselves with certain things, that kind of dictates how we begin to perceive ourselves. So if we're surrounding ourselves with the Word of God, in church, around like-minded individuals, then we begin to adopt what God says about us. So that plays a huge impact.
Absolutely. So, question in our last few moments. Since God uses broken people, okay, so we're talking about how like we need to, if it's not okay to be broken, then it goes without saying, then you must be unbroken, fixed. You want to use that word?
Fixed.
Let's use that word, fixed. Yeah. I don't want to use it because I feel like, anyway, but understand it. For lack of a better word, since God views us, God uses broken people, is the rush to be fixed or to fit into society, or not be broken for like society, or is it like for Him? So we're broken because of many different reasons. Medically, not. Or not medically, what did he unbalanced? Is what he was saying. So, is there a need? Do we need to get balanced? Do we need to? Why do all that? Because He uses broken people anyway. Does that question make sense, Marcus? Do you see what I'm saying, Marcus? All right, Tammy, what do you think? Okay.
He just said something.
I'm like, all right, just you answer.
He just said something.
Okay. Okay, you repeat it.
Okay, so correct me, but what I think you're saying is, if God uses broken people, which He does, is there a need or a sense of urgency to become whole?
Absolutely.
If He uses broken people,
right? Did you hear that one? Well, what do you think, Tammy?
Well, I think that there's a certain level of brokenness that I think we're always gonna have, but if we're impaired, I don't think we're useful to God. Like if I'm in a state of deep depression and everything around me is just crumbling, or I'm in a spiral of addiction, I'm not able to hear God in that moment in my life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I have to reach some level of stability in order to be used by God, in order to start connecting and Him using me. And then at the same time, with me becoming to a level of stability, there still has to be that open vessel to allow God to use. Because sometimes people do get to a state of recovery or health, and they don't think they need God after that, and then they're also not useful. True. So I don't know. That's just kind of how I see it.
And as you were saying that, something came to my mind too. So again, the desire to get whole again is now less then for society, like I'm not trying to fit into that perfect career or gain the weight or dye color or yes, it affects me, but it doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I become whole for him. So that's where my sense of urgency happens. Yes, I don't care what people say about me, but I do care how I'm affected by how I'm telling myself so that I could be whole for him. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Tammy, for it's like a light bulb.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Yes? No? Agree or no? Agree or disagree?
Agree.
What's the question again? Sorry.
Tammy asked it better. I explained it to her, but she's so well with words. It's just
So my rephrase of the question was basically if God uses broken people, you got it.
Okay. Sorry. I do remember. If God uses broken people, is there a reason to be
or sense of urgency to become whole? Yeah.
Well, I guess it just depends on how you view yourself as broken, you know? Like, I find that our wholeness will be in Christ, you know? And I think that's...
No, she was literally just saying the same thing.
Oh. Alright, Shay, we're on the same page today. I find our wholeness will be in Christ, and, you know, I just think it'll be, you look at it differently, you know? So it's not like, by definition, we are broken, but also by definition, we are whole in Christ Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one and the same, I think.
Right.
You know? That's how I feel.
I agree.
Yeah.
Go for it. Next. Okay. So with the last few minutes that we had, I think it's important to discuss how if we're not fully accepting or living in the identity of Christ or what God says we are, and I can admit that there are times where I don't feel like what God says I am. How can we begin to view ourselves from God's perspective when we're constantly subject to the labels, pressures, and expectations of the world?
I mean, I don't want to sound cliche, but I guess we should probably just study the word more, because that's where we're going to find, like, it is cliche, right? Yeah. Because I guess that's just where we're going to find all the answers. Because, I mean, if I look to my peers, they're just going to tell me what I want to hear.
True story.
Or sometimes they're going to, maybe even if they don't tell me what I want to hear, it doesn't necessarily mean that what they're telling me is true or it's right. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't need to find, you're so whack. I don't need to find the answers from Jamal or Atara or Tamara or Christina. I need to find it from God. So I think if we delve into his book of promise, then we'll be able to find like all the answers that we're looking for. And I need to take my own advice because I don't read the Bible as half as much as I should.
Me too. I was going to say to kind of piggyback off of that and also belief. So a lot of times, people tell us positive stuff. Yeah. And we don't believe it. No, you are doing well at work. No, you do look great. Yeah. No, you can be useful on the praise team, and we don't believe it. So same thing with the word. So if we're going to open the word and read those verses that say he created you, like, again, like I struggle between like he created you. Yes, I made certain people. Who's I was talking to this week? I can't remember. But you know when people have chemical imbalances, whatever the case is, like, yet, like, because you're not balanced, you know, how can you effectively serve and lead? Like, I don't know what you might do up on the stage, like, you know, but know that, you know, chemical imbalance is different than, like, other hurt that you're feeling from parents that may have abused you when you were younger, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, different type of things that you have affected how you carry your life. But once you're able to really truly believe that God does not care, not in a bad way, that it doesn't make you less of a person, it doesn't make you less of a person, that you truly believe that, then is when I think you can start, you know, being apparently I forgot to speak English, but hopefully I'm making sense.
I know what this means. I know what it means.
Thank you.
I know what I got you.
I know
what
this is. What? Why am I kidding?
I got it.
All right, time out. I'm gonna y'all take it from me because I can't speak English.
And I think we have to start filling our minds with the right things, because that music that you listening to,
shows,
that degrading music that says a lot of things about women, about men, about black people, white people. You gotta watch that stuff because it is implanting in your mind, and subconsciously. And if
deny it.
and if we start to fill our minds with the right words, so that means studying the word, could mean doing morning devotions, is reading positive books, positive things, then your mind starts to adopt that positivity, and then it becomes a natural thing, and then with your thoughts begins how you view yourself, and changes your whole destiny ultimately. So watch what you're feeding your mind.
Yes. Any closing thoughts as we are wrapping up?
Agree,
thank you so much, Marcus, for... I know, Marcus.
Sorry, Marcus.
Good job. You hung in there for us, buddy. Thank you. Marcus, you still with us?
You're like, I gotta go.
Marcus, are you on Periscope with it? Like, what?
So,
can you hear?
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Marcus, whenever you're in Orlando, because I know you visit here a lot, we definitely want to have you in person on the show.
Physically.
So, please, hit me up, hit us up when you're in town, because we would love to have you on the show.
Yeah. I keep it in prayer, man.
Yeah.
We love Orlando. You guys treated us well. And, man, we talk about you guys every day in the household. We've been back, man.
Oh.
We miss y'all so much, man. We just going to keep that in prayer.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Brother B. Thanks, Christina. We never came up with a radio name for Christina, did we?
Do we even have a radio name?
No, y'all taking forever.
I don't have one.
You're bugging, Tammy. I didn't give you 39 options. And
you did?
I don't have a radio
at least
name.
5.
Okay, we'll go over them.
Yeah, so
thanks,
Christina. CH. C. Hannon.
Whoa.
No?
You can call her by her Instagram name, Christina.
Okay, I'm not saying
That's my everything name.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know how to say my name.
That really is her name.
The breakdown.
Never mind.
No.
I take that back.
J-Mal.
Word to Jamal.
Word to J-Mal. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. And for silent. Yes? No? Okay. Bye. See you guys next week.